Alabama has a quarterback battle on its hands. Yes, we've heard that before. It's time to break it down here on Southeastern 14. Hello, everyone. I'm Blayne Gilmer. Welcome to Southeastern 14, the channel that covers the SEC as good as anybody out there, whether it's football, whether it's college basketball with all the bracketology. Chris Lee, Blake Lovell breaking down every single preview of every SEC game in the tournament. Also, women's coverage of the tournament. And then, of course, there's baseball coverage here on Southeastern 14. So if all that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you want to catch all the SEC action right here on Southeastern 14. But today, as I've been doing, I'm going through different issues and topics related to the SEC and football this offseason, and spring ball is arriving over in Tuscaloosa. A-Day is on April 22nd, and Nick Saban has a choice on his hands between Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson, a redshirt freshman that didn't get much action at all last year, but is well schooled in college football. His dad being a longtime head coach at UT Martin and was quite successful, five-star recruits on different recruiting services that you see, at least a high 4-star in every recruiting service. And he is uber talented. Jalen Milroe, tremendously athletic, was the guy that Alabama turned to when Bryce Young went down, ended up playing in 8 games. He started that Texas A&M game, played heavily in the Arkansas game after Bryce Young's injury. So we're going to be breaking down this battle between these two highly talented quarterbacks. Now, here's the thing. Jalen Milroe kind of brings you back to a little bit of, it's not totally unprecedented what is going on here when it comes to Jalen Milroe and what Alabama has had in the past. Think a little bit about Blake Sims, okay? I'm from Gainesville, Georgia, so I know a lot about Blake Sims. That's where Blake Sims played high school football. And there was a time at Blake Sims' career at Alabama where people questioned whether he would, play, whether he would switch positions, whether he would end up going to another school. Played in 8 games the year before he became the starter for Alabama. Was a little bit inconsistent at times, but showed tremendous arm strength and athleticism and all of the like. And then here comes, Lane Kiffin into town, and lo and behold, Blake Sims wins that starting quarterback job in fall camp. Now, things were different back then in terms of the transfer portal and windows and things of this nature. This is what Alabama has to decide as they go into spring here, okay? Can they navigate this in such a way where they don't have to name a starter after spring, thusly not risking one of these two quarterbacks transferring? Because if Ty Simpson transfers, you would have Jalen Milroe, who admittedly, tremendous athlete. I mean, guy can change a football game with one cut, sticking his foot in the ground, getting north, and just leaving the defense. He's shown the ability to do that. But also he's shown that he has a propensity to make some mistakes, turn the ball over a little bit, had 3 interceptions last year, had a fumble, just wasn't, the performance against Texas A&M wasn't just awe-inspiring. And there's times of inconsistency. That's the big question. It's not the ceiling. It's what is the floor with Jalen Milroe. So if they were to, let's say, name Jalen Milroe the starter after spring, then you risk Ty Simpson moving on elsewhere. Okay, there's reports out there that after the Sugar Bowl, Ty Simpson wasn't very pleased with not being able to play in that game, especially, Bryce Young decides to come back and play. And I know Alabama fans, tremendously lauded that and loved that. And there's a lot to be respected about what Bryce Young did. But, maybe getting the opportunity to get in there at a certain point and things like that, And Ty Simpson had some things on social media in the offseason. So we'll see what happens if that comes to fruition. But the same thing can be said for Jalen Milroe. He's not likely to stick around. I don't know that he's going to be the Jalen Hurts to Ty Simpson's Tua Tagovailoa, if you will, if he doesn't win this job. I think he would end up going elsewhere unless Alabama were to be able to convince him to switch positions, which, goodness gracious, he's got athleticism for days and could easily do that. But here's the thing. I think that it's going to be a tough deal if either one of those quarterbacks transfers after the spring in the transfer portal window that happens in May. There's a 15-day window, because then you're left with two true freshmen as backups. And either starter that you name, whether it's Ty Simpson or Jalen Milroe, while being terrifically talented, are both inexperienced and are going to kind of be learning on the job. Now, people want to say, well, Jalen Milroe has games, he has the reps. So I was like, yes, but he also has it in a little bit different style of offense. Now, I know Nick Saban, he always requires his offensive coordinators to come in and adapt to his system, to make them run what he wants to run and make it fit his terminology and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the stuff left over from when he kind of made that change, from more of the Derrick Henry 3 yards in a cloud of dust style of offense down, to the new, more modern, air it out, get things going that Blake Sims has had success with, that Jalen Hurts, that Tua, that everybody had success with, that was kind of ushered in by Lane Kiffin. I know a lot of that's going to remain, but Tommy Rees comes in and it's a new offensive coordinator. Okay. And the thing about having a new offensive coordinator is, yes, you may have to adapt to language, and Tommy Rees may be having to largely keep his terminology the same of what Alabama's used to, things of that nature. But a different guy calling it, there's going to be some different wrinkles in there. And by all reports, Tommy Rees, and you see what he did at Notre Dame, in his core, he wants to be more physical. He wants to have some more 12 personnel. He wants to be able to run the football more, establish that early. So the question is, how much is the quarterback run going to be involved in that? Obviously, with Bryce Young, Alabama wanted to keep him as clean as possible. He had a little bit more of a slender build, okay, not the biggest guy in the world, so they wanted to keep him uninjured. And Bryce Young kind of picked his spots. He ran in times when he felt that he needed to, was extremely elusive, could run all the time, but injury was always the question of, okay, how does that come into play if we run Bryce too much? And that's something that Alabama didn't want to risk. Now, I think Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson's 6'3", over 200 pounds. Jalen Milroe's built like a linebacker. He's 6'2", 220, just yoked up. I mean, the young man's neck, it looks like it's dude's doing the neck workout, the traps and everything built up over there. Jalen Milroe is stacked. Okay, but here's the thing: whoever is the quarterback for Alabama will be the one, in my opinion, that picks up this offense the quickest with Tommy Rees. And also, I think you got to look at some past relationships here. Ty Simpson was recruited by Tommy Rees at Notre Dame. They really, really wanted him to be a part of their program up there. And now he's going to come down and get the chance to work with him. I think Jalen Milroe is a tremendously talented quarterback, but I think he's a guy that you watch on routes on air, okay, and there's struggles to be accuracy with no defense out there. Completed 58% of his passes last year, and just struggled at times. And I think ball placement and having some of these receivers, whether it's Brooks or Bond, that can really go. Burton is out there, the killer bees that Alabama is going to have. Brooks, Bond, and Burton are going to be over there to throw the football to, and being able to throw the ball in a position where these guys can catch it on the run. That is what Alabama has lived on so much, is the RPO game and being able to hit guys in stride and let those talented receivers run after the catch, because they've not had to slow down. They've not had to break stride, keep on going. I think Ty Simpson gives Alabama the opportunity to do that. Let's watch a little bit here of, Ty Simpson in action. He shows you in these are his senior highlights from high school. And I tell you, he is a just uberly talented young man. What I like about Ty Simpson is that, like I said, he's the son of a college coach, but you see the escapability here. Yes, he's playing against what I would call some inferior athletic competition in the state of Tennessee. Now, the state of Tennessee's football is not the greatest in the world. It's not like he's playing high school football in Georgia, heck, even in Alabama for that matter. Definitely not Texas, Florida, or California. But Ty Simpson looks like a man among boys, which he should at this level. But you see the arm strength. You see him coming in against last year against Austin Peay and making just a terrific throw, like a throw that you're like, wow, this guy can really play. I predicted coming out of high school, I just predicted with what Alabama has done offensively in the past, with the talent that Alabama typically surrounds their quarterback with. I predicted that Ty Simpson would win a Heisman Trophy coming out of high school. So I'm not going to back down off my prediction and thoughts on it now. I think Ty Simpson will win this quarterback job. And I just think that his ability to pick up Tommy Rees's offense, the prior connection he already has with Tommy Rees, having been recruited by him at Notre Dame, the escapability. He's not a slender frame guy. Like I said, 6'3", 200. I think he's built to be able to take some hits. And listen, he's probably going to take some hits this year. Alabama's offensive line is young. There's questions there. You look all across Alabama's two deep coming into the spring. There's a true freshman at every position. Okay, it's either as the starter or as the key backup for Alabama. So Ty Simpson is a guy who I think can extend plays with his legs. He has a tremendously gifted arm in terms of arm strength, but I think it's the ball placement, the ability to understand what the defense is trying to do to you and then be able to fit the ball in tight windows. That's why I think Ty Simpson will be the quarterback for Alabama. Would love to get your guys' thoughts on this quarterback competition. Listen, I think it's going to be too late to dip into the transfer portal that late into the spring if one of these guys doesn't win the job coming out of spring practice and decides to go elsewhere. It's going to be, I think it could realistically be Alabama rolling with a redshirt freshman that has not played but in like 2 or 3 games in Ty Simpson, who is tremendously talented, and then 2 true freshmen in Eli Holstein and Dylan Lonergan. But he's going to have some, like I said, some tremendously talented receivers. I think the freshman running back, Justice Haynes, is going to be absolute stud for Alabama. But it's going to be an interesting situation here, and Nick Saban is going to have to navigate it carefully. So we'll see if they can make it through the spring transfer portal window with both Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson on the roster. I think if they do, that is a huge win for Alabama. But who knows? Yet to be determined. Give us your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. I am Blayne Gilmer. This is Southeastern 14, talking about the Alabama quarterback battle in 2023. We'll catch you guys next time.